Okay, so I recently watched Deadpool and Wolverine, and I have to say, it was pretty good. Hugh Jackman was especially great in the film. So great that I decided to rewatch one of my favourite Marvel movies, Logan. And honestly, this film holds up after nearly 8 years? Wow, I'm old, holy sh. Logan is a perfect example of the fact that not every superhero movie needs to have a world-ending stakes, or even now multiverse-ending stakes. Logan doesn't have a giant sky beam, or a bunch of American monuments being destroyed. It's simply a man struggling with getting older and having to protect his daughter with his last breaths. The film is incredibly sad and has a much darker theme than the original X-Men and Wolverine films. But how did we get here? I mean, the Wolverine we get in Logan is completely different to the Wolverine we have seen before, so surely it would take a long time to establish such a drastic change in character, right? Well, actually, because this movie was made by competent people, it takes less than 5 minutes. The first 5 minutes of Logan are carefully crafted so perfectly that you will immediately understand that this film will be darker than any of the other X-Men movies. The film opens with Logan sleeping in the backseat of a limo. He wakes up to the sound of some guys jacking his limo up and trying to steal his wheels. As he walks around the limo, the camera is deliberately focused on his feet to emphasize just how weak and old he has gotten since the last films. He also may have had a couple drinks, let's be real. When he gets around the limo, he sees this group of 5 thugs, and then he says,
Guys, those are chrome-plated lugs. You're gonna strip them. Plating flakes off.
I know I'm picking out every little detail, but I think this line is great. It shows how much Logan really doesn't care about showing off or acting tough anymore. He just wants these guys gone because they're annoying him. Logan doesn't want to kill these guys, and to be honest, I don't think the audience wants to see them dead either. I mean, they might be desperate for money and be stealing from innocent people, but it doesn't mean that they should die. That is, until the main guy pulls out a shotgun and shoots him in the chest as the rest of the thugs laugh and mock him. This was a clever trick to make the audience truly hate these thugs and want to see Logan lash out and become the Wolverine on them. Since these thugs are no longer people desperate for money, and now just straight up murderers of people who aren't even threatening them. I also want to point out that while Logan is on the floor after being blasted with a shotgun, the title card appears. It's small and it's tucked away to the right of the screen. It isn't a big, flashy or dramatic title card, but it perfectly mirrors the tone of the movie. It's Logan at his lowest point. He's no longer the Wolverine, he's just Logan. I think this title card is simple but brilliant and just adds a little more to a scene which is already perfect. But of course, Logan, being a mutant, gets up from the shotgun blast and then warns them once again. We see him pull out his claws, but one of them gets stuck. This is obviously showing that his age is taking a toll on his mutant abilities. We then get a satisfying but graphic scene of Logan acting purely in self-defense and putting down the thugs. The fight scene is really well choreographed. The setting is great, and all the actors do a good job selling the scene. I especially love the little joke of Wolverine jumping in front of the gun to protect the car from being shot, and getting especially angry once they do shoot the car. I did get a laugh out of it the first time watching, but it's also kind of telling that he doesn't care much about his own life and is willing to jump in front of a gun just to avoid damaging the limo that he has leased for work. And yeah, of course, I know he's the Wolverine and he can regenerate, but he can clearly still feel pain, and it's later established that his regeneration is not as good as it used to be. And in the actual script of the movie, they state that Logan's main goal is to keep them away from the car. So I definitely think they were trying to comment on how little Logan values his own life. Anyway, after Logan kills most of the thugs, he drives off, which is where the film confirms that we're in El Paso. There's not much I have to say about the location reveal, but it's just another one of the many things that is packed into this 5-minute opening. Logan arrives at a motel and grabs a new suit out of the trunk of the limo. Obviously his old suit is covered in blood and bullet holes. We then get this really great scene of him regenerating in the bathroom of the motel, but it's clear that his regeneration is nowhere near as good as it used to be, and that it's actually really painful for him. All this has happened within 4 minutes, by the way. The last minute of the sequence is a short montage of Logan driving people around in his limo, but we do get some good exposition and it doesn't really feel forced. We see that Logan has done 2,300 hours of chauffeuring, which implies that this isn't really something he loves doing, but he's just picked it up recently as a means to make money. We also see his real name, James Howlett, and someone on the radio says it's 2029, why are we still talking about mutants? Not only does this obviously tell us that the film is set in the future, but also that the mutants are not really a thing anymore. They aren't important and aren't really talked about anymore. So in the first 5 minutes of Logan, they establish that Logan is getting older, his regeneration is diminishing, his mutant powers aren't working properly anymore, he's in El Paso and has been working as a chauffeur for the last year or so, He doesn't really value his life much anymore. The year is 2029, and mutants are not relevant or talked about anymore. For all this to be packed in a 5-minute scene and to also have a cool fight scene where you get to see the Wolverine go all out, makes this in my opinion the best opening in any Marvel movie ever. I mean, the first 5 minutes of Logan really set the tone for what is one of the greatest comic book movies. I highly recommend this movie and I'm going to give it a 90% on the tier meter, which lands it a solid spot in S tier. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.